Alright, today's lesson is using ratio tables to compare ratios. Alright, we're going to start with our first example. It says create 4 equivalent ratios, 2 by scaling up and 2 by scaling down using the ratio 30 to 80. Alright, I'm going to start with my first ratio of 30 to 80. Okay, so I need to first do 2 by scaling up. That means by multiplying by the same factor. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 10. That'll be an easy one. So 30 times 10 is 300. 80 times 10 is 800. They're equivalent, and I scaled them up. Okay, we need another one. I'm going to box this. This is my original one. Another one by scaling up. I think I'm going to multiply times 2. Alright, so 30 times 2 is 60. 80 times 2 is 160. Alright, so I got my 2 by scaling up. Now I need 2 by scaling down, and that means by dividing by a common factor. Well, I already see, the first thing I see is zeros, so I'm going to divide by 10. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 80 divided by 10 is 8. So 3 to 8 is also an equivalent ratio. Let's see. I think I want to divide by 5. Because they end in zeros, I know they're also divisible by 5. So 30 divided by 5, I know, is 6. And 80 divided by 5, I'm going to do a quick little problem over here just to make sure I get it correct. 80 divided by 5. 8 divided by 5 is 1. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So my ratio is 6 to 16. Okay, so I've scaled up ratios to make them equivalent, and I've scaled down ratios to make them equivalent. All 5 of these ratios here are equivalent. Alright, so we need to write a ratio. It's wanting us to write a ratio in the smallest whole numbers we can to describe the relationship shown in the table. Okay, so let's take a look. This is a pizza place, and the pizza place is selling pizzas, and in 2 hours, looks like they sold 16 pizzas. In 5 hours, they sold 40. In 6 hours, they sold 48. And in 10 hours, they sold 80. We want to know the rate. This is a new vocabulary word I want you to put into your ISN. We want to know the rate at which they're making pizzas or selling pizzas. The rate is a ratio that compares 2 quantities that have different units. So here we're comparing hours and pizzas. So the rate is a ratio comparing 2 things with different units. Alright, so we want to know the rate. How many pizzas are they selling each hour? Okay, I'm going to look first. I'm going to cover up here. I'm going to look first just at the 2 and the 16. This is going to help me to know what my rate is. Okay, if I sell in 2 hours, I sold 16. Let's see what a common factor is between 2 and 16. Well, I notice that they're both even, so I think I can divide by 2. If I divide 2 divided by 2, I should get 1. If I divide 16 divided by 2, I should get 8. So in 1 hour, they sell 8 pizzas. So 8 pizzas per hour. Okay, you can read it either way. Okay, so let's take a look and see if that is true. Since the ratio table, they should be equivalent. So let's look here. This tells me that I should be able to take 2 times 8 equals 16. So let's try that. 5 times 8 equals 40. And we know that is true. So our ratio is still 1 to 8. I'm going to put that on the first one. Let's try the second one. It should still work. 6 times 8 is 48. So we still have the ratio of 1 to 8. The reason that we have a 1 here is because there is 1 6 here, there are 8 6s here. There is 1 5 here, there are 8 5s here. Okay, let's try one more. We have 10 times 8 equals 80. There's 1 10 here, there are 8 10s here. 1 to 8. So our ratio that describes the relationship shown here is for 1 hour, they're going to make 8 pizzas. So our answer is 1 to 8. Okay, our next problem is a little bit trickier. Okay. This says the following tables show how many words each person can text in a given amount of time. I'm sure you guys are pretty quick at texting. Compare the rates of texting for each person using the ratio table. Okay, let's take a look first at Michaela. And Michaela can text 150 words in 3 minutes. In 9 minutes, she can text 450 words. And it tells us a few increments here. 5 minutes, she can text 250, and in 7 minutes, she can text 350. All right, let's take a look at Jenna. This shows us that in 2 minutes, Jenna can text 90 words. In 4 minutes, she can text 180, 270 words in 6 minutes, and 360 words in 8 minutes. And then we have Maria. Maria can text 120 words in 3 minutes, 240 in 6, 360 words in 9 minutes, and 480 words in 12 minutes. Now, the question says to compare the rates of texting for each person. That means we need to find the rate. Let's switch colors here. We need to find the rates. That means we need to know how much she can do in 1 minute. Let's look at Michaela. I could compare Michaela and Maria pretty easily. I could look at their 3 minutes, and in 3 minutes, Michaela can type or text 150 words. In the same amount of time, Maria can text 120 words. So if I was looking just at these two datas, I can see that Michaela can type faster because she can type more words in the same amount of time. Now, if the data here showed that Jenna could type a certain number in 3 minutes, then we would be able to compare them pretty easily. But it doesn't show us 3 minutes. If I look just at Maria and Jenna, I could compare their 6-minute times, and I can see that Jenna could type faster than Maria because she has more words. But then again, Michaela doesn't have 6 minutes, so we can't use that to compare. There is no time on their minutes here that matches for all 3 girls. So we need to create one that does. So let's make our ratio of 1 minute. So if we took them back to 1 minute, let's take a look first at Michaela. Okay, if we look at 3 and 150, I need to find a common factor. Well, I know the factors of 3 are 1 and 3. Those are the only 2 numbers you can multiply to get to 3. So let's see if 3 is a factor of 150. Well, I know that 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 0 divided by 3 is 0, so I think this will work. I'm going to divide by 3. So 3 times what gives me 150? So I'm actually going to not divide by 3. I'm going to take 150 and divide that by 3 to see what I'm going to multiply by. Okay, So I know it goes in 5 times. Kind of writing small here. Okay, it looks like 50. So 3 times 50 gives me 150. Okay, if we look back at our first example, when I multiplied times 8, that's the number that went here. Okay, it's the same as dividing by that first number. This is very tricky. Okay, so if I divided by 3, let's try that instead. I think I'm confusing myself here. In turn, I think I'm confusing you. Okay, if we divide by 3, because that's the factor they have in common, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 150 divided by 3 we found was 50. So in 1 minute, Michaela can type or text 50 words. I think that makes a little more sense to my brain. I hope that does to yours. Okay, let's take a look at this one. 2 and 90. Well, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. And I know that 90 is even, so it must also be divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and I'm going to put it over here so it kind of lines up with this one. And 90 divided by 2, I'm going to do over here, is, I see 4. And 10 divided by 2 is 5 evenly. So 90 divided by 2 is 45. So Jenna can type 45 words in 1 minute. All right, and this is all the information that we need to compare these. Okay, 3 and 120. Well, I know again the factors of 3 are just 1 and 3, so I'm hoping that 120 is divisible by 3. 12 divided by 3 would be 4 and 0. So yes, it is divisible by 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 120 divided by 3 is 40. So Maria can type a text 40 words in 1 minute. That makes a whole lot more sense to my brain. Sorry if I confused you at the beginning. Okay, now it says compare the rates of texting for each person using the ratio table. So who's the fastest? We'll do fastest to slowest. Kind of like least to greatest. Fastest to slowest. All right, well in 1 minute, Michaela can get 50 words. Jenna can get 45, and Maria can get 40. So that tells me that Michaela is the fastest because she can do the most in the shortest amount of time. All right, between Jenna and Maria, it looks like Jenna can do more in the same amount of time. So Jenna is the next fastest, and from these 3, Maria is the slowest. All right, I know today's lesson was a little tricky, and that was partly my fault. If you do have questions, please put them in your ISN so we can talk tomorrow in class.